Hello, Empowered Warriors. Welcome to episode 4 of the Empowered Warrior podcast. Today, I'm going to discuss a topic that is so lit up for me right now that I had to share, and that is the topic of money, our relationship between money and our consciousness, and how giving away goods and services for free or highly discounted is not only harmful to our finances, but is a reflection of who we are on the inside. Also, I do attract a lot of business owners, but you don't need to be a business owner to gain some valuable information. At the end of this episode, I will speak about how we give away another even more valuable commodity, our chi, or life force, is a dangerous place to be. And in case you were wondering, I will briefly address the importance of thinking about things like this even when people around us are suffering. I ramble a little with some personal stories, but overall, you should get many nuggets of wisdom that you can apply right away to your life to help you pave your pathway to becoming the empowered warrior that you always knew you were. So, keep listening. Welcome to the Empowered Warrior podcast. My name is Angela Noel, and I am an intuitive coach, acupuncturist, and Chinese herbalist. This podcast is all about empowerment, meaning how you can maintain your personal power in order to have the best life beyond your imagination. An empowered warrior is someone who has the identity of a person who is healthy, radiant, and free from all suffering, and has the tools ready and available to move through life's obstacles with confidence, ease, and a sense of freedom. In this podcast, I bring over 16 years experience in Chinese medicine, countless years of self-development, and a passion for helping others find their personal power. I will be discussing just a few of my favorite topics regarding health from a Chinese medicine perspective, brain habits, and spirituality, so that you can quickly pave your pathway to freedom and be free from the chains that have kept you stuck. My intention with this podcast is to serve as a guide for warriors who want to form a healthy foundation of body, mind, and spirit, and sustain it by changing who they are being from the inside and having a stronger connection to their higher selves. My goal is to help students end the unnecessary suffering that they place on themselves by having poor health habits, negative thought loops, and a lack of self-worth. I am so happy that you're here. Hello, Empowered Warriors. I feel like I say this all the time, but I am really looking forward to today's episode. Today, I'm going to talk all about money as it relates to how we view ourselves, as well as the pitfalls of giving discounts and things away for free. I want to acknowledge that while I do attract many listeners who are entrepreneurs or business owners, I also attract a lot of people who do not have businesses. If you don't have a business, I invite you to keep listening with an open mind and heart, because there will be nuggets of gold that you will find useful. So keep listening. Now, you might be thinking that money is kind of a random subject when it comes to being an empowered warrior. I mean, money has nothing to do with health, brain habits, and spirituality, right? And there are still many people that feel like money is the, quote, root of all evil, and that, quote, rich people are greedy, evil, etc. But trust me, as you'll learn in this episode, money does fit into this trifecta of goodness quite perfectly. What's really on my heart today, and again, I came up with this podcast idea while in the shower, is the concept of free things. Giving away things for free, expectations around giving and receiving goods and services for free or at a discounted rate, and everything regarding money and energy. I feel very called to talk about this on my podcast, and I have to admit, it felt really early to just jump in and start talking about money. I mean, shouldn't I warm up the audience a little more before I just go there? Well, here's the thing about this podcast. I'm an intuitive. So when things feel very alive for me, it's usually a sign that it's the right time to go for it. So somebody must need to hear this today, whether it's heard on the date of release or 3 years from now. I am going to trust that this message needs to be out there. So if you've listened to all 3 of my podcasts lately, you already know that there is always a backstory with my podcasts. And the story is this. I have been talking about this subject for a very long time in one context or another. As I'm sure many can relate, money often comes up as a subject of conversation among friends, couples, family members, etc. But unfortunately, money is often spoken of in the context of lack or disrespect. You know, when I started my acupuncture practice, I have to admit, I had zero business sense. I didn't know anything. And when I was getting my master's in Chinese medicine, well, let's just say we had one business class. I'm not blaming the school I went to. My school trained us to be amazing clinicians. But I do take responsibility for not being more business savvy or learning a few simple business strategies before I graduated. After all, I remember in my interview for grad school that the then president at the time was very transparent that going through a program such as acupuncture and Chinese medicine was not for someone that was hoping for a job at the end, but it was ideal for someone who had more of an entrepreneurial spirit. I remember thinking, I'm one of those people. My mom and dad are self-employed. I can do this. Oh man, I knew so little. So in the beginning of my practice days, I made some really, let's say, interesting decisions. I also had a hard time taking money from people, or get this, asking for payment after services were rendered. OMG, it's crazy. I gave discounts, allowed people to talk me into giving them a discount, and at one point, I had 3 to 4 different prices because basically I had zero boundaries, zero prosperity consciousness, and zero confidence when it came to money and business. And when I look at how my life was at the time, it's actually no surprise that I was basically treating my business like a hobby. And it comes down to simple math. Businesses are in business to provide something of value to other people in order to make money. And many small business owners struggle with that. I've been there, and I still see people I know in that place. It's especially noticeable in the helping professionals, such as mine. There is this notion that if you're making money helping people, then you're greedy or bad or whatever. But one thing I remember now about business is this. Small businesses are vital for the economy. Businesses are needed in order to provide goods and services to people who need or want them. Do you think companies such as Nike or Adidas feel bad for charging you for your shoes that you're going to play soccer or basketball in? Heck no. Do you think companies like Costco or Whole Foods feel bad for taking your money? Again, no way. So I've come a long way. And in my journey as an entrepreneur, you can say I've learned a ton about business and money. And obviously, if you're not making money, you have no business. And really, the intention for this episode is to serve those who may be struggling with getting back on their feet now that businesses are slowly opening up, or everyday people who may be giving too much of their energy in order to be liked. I also want to preface this talk today by saying that this message might trigger some folks out there, especially during a time when it seems like everyone is sensitive and reacting to world events. This message could come off as a little controversial. The reason is because we are living in a time that many people need help financially. But really, there are always times when people need help financially. But the energy around money right now for many people, in my interpretation, feels very heavy. If you are easily triggered or have issues with money, I'm not going to tell you what to do or anything, but you may want to listen when you are feeling more centered. And if you do decide to listen and you do get triggered, then my invitation to you is to take some time and look within yourself and figure out why this triggers you. Recently, I was in a Facebook group reading some posts about acupuncture practices opening up with all the new guidelines concerning the virus. There was a question posed to the group by one of my colleagues: to give discounts or not when we open our clinics again. Basically, are we as small business owners who are helping our patients or clients tremendously recover from the pandemic, many who are operating at a loss to begin with, obligated to give discounts? Do we give discounts assuming that everybody cannot afford acupuncture right now or other services? One person even wrote in that she was called selfish by someone in the acupuncture community, aka group acupuncture, because she was choosing to either keep her prices the same or raise her prices. Not only because she had not raised them in a while, but also to recover the loss she experienced from being closed 3 months. First of all, who are we to assume that people can't afford things? How do you know that people won't pay right now? And furthermore, why are we entangling with other people's financial affairs when we don't even know what they are? I'm going to tell it to you straight. Lowering your prices because you are projecting that people can't afford your services is only attracting people who are going to bargain with you, ask for discounts, and not respect you as a business person. Remember, what you focus on expands, so why not focus on abundance? To be honest, I really don't spend much time in groups like this. While the group in general seemed to have a pretty chill vibe of genuinely wanting to help people, I was sensing a lot of fear in the group. And while I understand the reasoning behind the fear and concern, I personally choose to not spend much time with others who are in fear. While I mentioned in episode 2 that fear has its place, spending time in fear energy does nothing for you except create more fear and lower the vibration. And while this episode is not about fear, fear and money are very closely related. So I'll leave you with this quote shared with me by one of my mentors, shared with him by his mentor, who is a shaman. Quote, "Fear is seductive, and then it devours you. Fear is a disease." I'd like to interrupt this episode to tell you about a free 5-day training I am having on July 6th through the 10th of 2020. It's called Resilient 2020, Being Strong, Immune, and Free in 2020 and Beyond. If you are a podcast listener or a follower in my communities, chances are you are resonating with my messages and you know you need to make some changes and are ready to kick the struggle, the suffering, and the disempowerment to the curb. This is the training for you. In this training, I will discuss how you can heal your body, mind, and spirit and create resiliency to be strong, immune, and free from all suffering for the rest of your life. As you may already know, I find that working on the physical body alone will only keep you in pain and stuck in your life. And my most successful clients have been the ones who have committed to not only health in their physical bodies, but also in forming healthy brain habits and a strong connection to their higher selves. You may or may not have already noticed that 2020 has been a tough year for most of us. And I'm hearing that people want a change in their life. They want to drop the BS and live a life on their own terms. They want to be their own guru. So if this sounds familiar, if this sounds like you, then please join my waitlist for my free 5-day training on July 6th through the 10th. This is not going to be another rinky-dink free class to collect email addresses. This is going to be a quality, real class that many people would pay for. The time is now. Our world is changing and is demanding that we evolve and change with the tides. I could keep telling you how valuable this course will be for your life, but I won't. I'll let you discover that for yourself. The fact that you're still listening must mean that you want to sign up for my free training, Resilient 2020. Do you see how this can change your life? To sign up and be the first one to know when it starts, go to www.angelaNoelMartin.com/strong. And that's Noel with 2 L's and an E at the end, and Martin, Martin, AngelaNoelMartin.com/strong. Thank you so much. So let's talk about free things and discounts, shall we? First of all, let's talk about the mechanics of money. Money is a tool, and money is something that is given in exchange for a good or a service. Also, money is energy. And because it is energy like we are, money requires respect. Think about it. Imagine telling the love of your life that you aren't satisfied with them, that they disappoint you, that they aren't giving enough to you. Like your partner, money will respond the same way. Your partner might back away, disappear, become less available, and feel unloved. And the same goes for money. If you are unhappy with your financial state, and that is what you're focusing on, then chances are you will have more lack, more financial worries in your life. Furthermore, our financial state is a reflection of our inner selves because money comes from our consciousness. So if you are in lack consciousness, for example, you are always going to worry about money. You are going to freak out about not having enough money. And then you will always be someone who is struggling with money. So here's a little story to share with you about my experience with money and giving things away for free. Please note, I share my experiences because they are my personal experiences, which I use to help inspire warriors who want to become empowered. I also know that many will relate to my story. I am completely and 100% responsible for my own money story. My experience is my experience because I am here to learn my lessons and has nothing to do with other people in my life. There is no victim talk on the Empowered Warrior ever. Okay? Okay. So I was speaking with a couple of friends recently about working with people from your past, whether it be an old friend or a family member, and either giving something that you offer for free or for a discounted price. And in both of these conversations, it was mentioned that there is often this expectation from people from your past that because you have this connection from 20, 30 years ago, or because you're related, that what you do for a living should be offered for free or for a discount. I know that this is a hot topic because it comes up often in my business group, my coaching groups, etc. And I realize it's touchy. To be transparent, this is a subject matter that I personally grapple with. But as a result of some interactions I've had over the years with people across the board, here's the conclusion I've come to. If you give it away for free or even for a discount, it isn't valued. I can't tell you how many times I've given away herbal products, acupuncture treatments, or business advice to friends. And I found out later that the product is still full on their shelf because it was never used, or that the free advice never got applied, or that giving away acupuncture only meant that there was an expectation for more free acupuncture the next time we met. I have spent way too many hours of my life trying to help people, like really wanting to help people. And unfortunately, when it is given out for free or at a large discount, it only means that I am the one who takes the energetic hit. Hint, this is also people-pleasing, warriors. Side story. When I had my acupuncture practice in Boston, I had an assistant to a major Boston athlete call me pretty regularly for moxa sticks for his boss. He called me at all hours of the day wanting to buy $2 moxa sticks from me. And for those who don't know, moxa bustion is an adjunctive therapy in Chinese medicine that uses therapeutic heat and herbs for healing. So this athlete at the time was having some problems with his shoulder or his knee or something. I've treated a few professional athletes in my day, and you might already know that they are often injured with something, so it's hard to keep track. So this athlete would send his assistant out to find him moxa sticks. One time I was nestled at home for the night watching a movie, and this assistant guy calls me. "Angela," he said. Let's call him the Ant-Man. The Ant-Man needs more moxa. Can you get it to me now? Okay, I'd say. And my boyfriend, now husband, and I would drive into Boston at 9 or 10 o'clock at night to deliver $2 moxa sticks to this person. But here's the thing. I remember feeling weird about charging the Ant-Man for his moxa. Ugh, I would think. These are just moxa sticks. I'm happy to give them away. Luckily, the assistant gave me Ant-Man's credit card and made it really easy for me to charge him. Otherwise, I can tell you, I probably wouldn't have charged for the moxa sticks. At the time, I was motivated both to show up at all hours and not charge because I thought, well, maybe the Ant-Man will become my patient. Maybe this assistant guy will give me more introductions to the Patriots, the Bruins, the Red Sox, or the Celtics. Maybe the Ant-Man will send his wife over one day. And I had to cut the relationship off when the Ant-Man started to ask his assistant to get needles for him. Does the Ant-Man need a treatment? Send him over, I said to the assistant. No thanks. Ant-Man already has an acupuncturist. The lesson here is that I was not fully prosperous in my thoughts, energy, and consciousness at the time. I didn't have self-worth enough to say no to the late-night drives to Boston for an $8 sale, and was almost tempted to not charge him at all. All of my motivation for doing this was for my ego, not my higher self. And because I was operating from such a low vibrational state, I literally wore myself out from running around trying to please someone who had no intention of becoming a client, when I could be spending quality time with a loved one or fostering my creative energy to help a client who actually needed help and was willing to pay me for it. This is why, guys, like I mentioned earlier, money is energy. Money is a tool. Think about it. If you are using your skills and expertise that you earned as a result of years of study and hard work, doesn't it make sense to be compensated for that effort? Why would you ever give away your skills, your products, your limited resource, your energy for free or highly discounted? I don't have this problem anymore because I have been extremely committed to working on my self-worth for a while now. But let me tell you what used to happen to me when I was not compensated for my efforts. I used to feel not only frustrated, angry, maybe taken advantage of, or resentful, but it was also a deep feeling that I felt in my energy system, which precedes the emotional response. It often feels like a heavy, nauseating pit in my 3rd, 4th, and 5th chakras. Basically from the solar plexus all the way up to the throat. I'll also notice complete exhaustion, like all the life force has been drained out of me. And at one time in my life, this was the story of my life, I was such an overgiver, a people pleaser, that I was always tired. A weekend with friends, if I was giving too much, would often leave me exhausted for the rest of the week. And instead of working on my divinely given gifts, I was often spending time recovering from all the energy I just gave away. You see, when you give everyone a discount, or you give stuff away for free all the time, notice I say all the time, that is a representation of how you view yourself. In fact, often when people have any kind of money issue, whether it isn't having enough money or if they are giving away things for free, it means they lack self-worth. And I'm willing to bet that most people have little to no self-worth, sadly, because we live in a society that teaches that the outside world is more important than our inside world. When you look at money as energy and using money as a tool for an energetic exchange, then why, when you give someone your energy through your work, would you ask for anything less than what you deserve? The fact that you're still listening to me talk about this subject must mean that you can relate to this message. And for those of you who are still listening and wondering how this applies to you because you don't have a business, there are other ways that you give valuable energy away. And this applies to many, many of us. And that is in the form of people pleasing. So while you aren't necessarily dealing with money, you are dealing with an even more important finite resource, your chi or life force energy that not only keeps you alive, but when in balance, it keeps you in flow. It fosters creativity. It keeps you feeling well. It gives you great orgasms. I'm going to say this to you straight. People pleasing is just really awful and completely disempowering. It leads to a lifetime of suffering, of hiding, of depression and anxiety for many. Yes, that is my interpretation. But as a recovering people pleaser, I feel I could write a dissertation on it based on my life experience. It's probably the worst way to give away your power and energy because for just that reason, it leaves you powerless and exhausted. People pleasing is a habit that comes from our desire to overgive in order to be liked, to please. I am going to go out on a limb and even say, like fear, people pleasing is a disease. I think there's even a book called The Disease to Please. Has anyone read that book? People pleasing comes from our ego, our 3D self, who wants to keep you safe in a little tiny box and be on good terms with the tribe. And the ego, my friends, is like a cock blocker. Sorry. It's a cock blocker, though, to your higher self, to divine consciousness. So as long as you are people-pleasing all the time, you will never be in touch with your higher self. And hence, you will never attract the money, the abundance, and the prosperity that you wish for. Does that make sense? I realize that for some of you, this might be new information. But the fact that you're still listening must mean that this information is resonating with you at some level. It might not be obvious now how this overgiving that many of us do can take away your power. But at some point, trust me, it will make sense. So, can I pick your brain? That question is probably one of my least favorite questions in the world. Can I pick your brain? Why? First of all, for me, it gives me this image of picking. I don't know, like picking something. Picking your nose, picking a scab, a pimple. I know, it's gross. But for me, using the word pick when it comes to our very valuable organ, the brain, feels wrong. Feels violating. But that's me, in my opinion and my interpretation. But secondly, it's normally a question associated with somebody wanting knowledge from someone else for free. Now, I know this might sound petty to even mention because many of us would never dream of charging a friend or a family member for helping them and by sharing knowledge. Here's the thing, and everyone is different, But when someone approaches you and asks to pick your brain, my invitation to you is to ask your higher self for the answer. For me, I go within and ask, does this feel good to me or not good to me? If it doesn't feel good, meaning it doesn't feel good either in my body or it just feels yucky, I no longer do it. And with all this said, please know that this message is not about not helping people. My intention is to inspire you and take small steps to love yourself, protect your energy and boundaries, and be abundant in all areas of your life, so that you have the energy to decide who you are going to help and how you are going to help them. So for those of you who are feeling defensive or triggered about this message, chances are you may be giving your energy and your power away to others in order to be nice or to please them, whether you're giving your goods and services away or giving your energy away. And if this is the case, again, I invite you to look within yourself and learn what is causing you to give your power away. Spend some time with your journal, in nature, or in meditation, and let your higher self let you know what feels good. Forming a strong foundation, not only with taking care of your physical body, but your energy body, is the first step in self-love, self-worth, and in having a lasting, healthy, abundant relationship with money. And for those who are still stuck in a story that wanting money is bad or greedy, or may I venture to say that this is not the time to be talking about money when other people are suffering, again, I will say that money is a tool. When we raise our consciousness and become abundant in body, mind, and spirit, we will attract abundance everywhere. And abundance, financial or otherwise, in the hands of people who want to serve, will allow us to help more people. Many people argue with this, but let me ask you, what solution has worked so far that has helped people on a massive global scale? Not more social media posts, not more protests, and not more people getting in their anger over world events. By changing who we are being, by attracting abundance, and by working on ourselves, we, human by human, can make a difference. And with that, I am going to wrap this up so that I can go out and spend some time outside in nature today. It's Sunday, May 31st, 2020, when I'm recording this, and the weather is absolutely astounding. Not too hot, too cold, and just the right amount of sun. So I hope you enjoyed this episode today and that you are inspired to start charging your worth in order to help the world become a better place. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Empowered Warrior podcast. Thank you so much for listening to the Empowered Warrior podcast. It is an honor and a privilege to have you as a listener. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast and would like to help others pave their pathway to freedom, end their disempowerment and suffering, and become an empowered warrior, please share this podcast with your friends and family. Also, it is my intention to help humanity grow and evolve to their highest potential. So if you really enjoy what you're hearing, please help me spread the word by leaving a review in iTunes. Thank you again, and I am so grateful to be able to serve you in this very exciting way.